OMG, I am such a big meathead. I was in such a rush. I got white 100% silicone. The bottom's not going to be a problem because the bottom's not going to, you're not going to see it. You're going to see white in the corners, but here I am. This is what I got. This is what I'm doing. I already committed. Okay, finally got the 125 down. If you've been watching my little shorts, I've been having an emergency. This thing's been leaking. So you don't realize how big this is till you get it down. My honey actually helped me get it down. So I got it down so I could caulk it and clean it really good. So one thing, I mean there's nothing else in here. So I'm going to give it a good cleaning with some Invisiglass and a green scrubby. And I'm going to get it wiped down, cleaned out really good. There's still some water in here. So I'm just going to use that little water and then Invisiglass. And I'm going to get this almost crystal clear as much as I can. And then I'm going to start with the paper towels to get this glass really clean with the Invisiglass. Now this is going to dry overnight because all this has to be peeled. Everything. If you install, you got a little leak right here and you're just trying to seal it right here, all this could be leaking inside of this and you won't even know. So you're better off sealing the whole thing with 100% silicone. Right now I got a green scrubby and I'm got a little bit water left in this, enough to get me around moving back and forth. And then I'm going to grab the paper towels and start absorbing everything out, the rags, and start absorbing all the water to get this dry. I'm going to lift it off the ground and put it on probably 6 bricks and have a fan blowing on it all night long. Now that's about the nicest that fish tank looked in about maybe 8 years. So I just did the sides of the glass right now with the first rag and Invisiglass. I did the outside first, then the inside. So now that this rag is dirty, I'm gonna start absorbing and rinsing out everything in the bottom before I Invisiglass and clean that bottom panel. But it all has to be squeaky clean because that silicone has to stick to it. So I'm going to use this rag, start absorbing the bottom and cleaning the bottom with a dirty rag and get as much as I can off, even rinsing this off in the sink until I get to the point where I can clean that with Invisiglass and then get it squeaky clean like the sides. Alright, now you see how it's coming off really nice already. And this is the first one that I've used. I'm going to get this as clean as I can on the bottom. See? And look at these, all the air bubbles that were in it. That's the air bubbles that's trapped underneath there, so they just give out. See this right here? This isn't sealed at all. When it's really white like that, there's no seal. So this, I don't know how old this tank was. I bought it used. It was just time for the seals to give out probably. So you see already perfectly clean. This is the same microfiber that I've been using, trying to clean all the bottom of it. Then I'm going to switch to a really clean one and more Invisiglass to get it sparkling clean. Alright, look how spotless that is. That's 3 times with the rags I wrung it out and then I went to the bottom. That's actually the sticker that was underneath after all these years. Okay, so before I finish microfibering that, I figured that I was just going to vacuum it out with the shop vac because there's still some bunch of tiny little rocks in here and I want to get all the little leftover rocks in there. So I'm gonna get the shop vac that out, and then I'm gonna clean it with the Invisiglass really good, get it spotless, and then I'm gonna start peeling off the silicone all the way around. And if you have trouble, just get a little razor blade and start getting, you have to get all of that completely off all the way around. You want it when it dries to be one solid piece all the way throughout the tank. Alright, since it was leaking in the basement, there was a lot of water, I had this balance on the back. We're going ahead, the shims are drenched, the line is drenched, so we're going to go ahead and just rebalance the whole tank. All the shims that were underneath it are drenched. I got to lift the whole tank up, let the fan go underneath, and re-shim and rebalance the whole tank with the level. So this is where it was dripping right here. So I got to let all this dry out completely too. So thinking of becoming a minimalist. 125 gallon fish tank. Sprung a leak in the basement. Another 125-gallon fish tank. Overwintering the plants in there. Grow watt solar panel with battery that I built. Alright, so I got the shop vac now. Oh, wrong way. Alright, so I got the shop vac now. I'm getting everything out of there. Really good, crystal clear. I'm going to peel it off, then I'm going to clean it again really good. I can see in here I still got water between here. See, there's still water between there. So I got to lean the tank sideways and sideways and sideways to try to get as much water as I can. Put up on blocks. And then put a fan to dry it all the way out. That water really ain't going to make a difference around the perimeter. But I'm still going to try to get out as much as I can. But I'm using the shop vac to get the last of the water and all the rest of the little gravel pieces that were in there. I'm just holding the tank sideways on its edge. And look at how much water is spilling out from the tank. So I'm going to kind of hold it like this for a bit to try to get as much water to drain out of it that I can. But all that water is now sitting in this corner, this seam. So I got to get it all dry out. I'm going to lean it the other way too. Of course I'm going to start peeling it now. And I can't find my box of 50 gajillion razor blades. So wherever you can grab it, you can start peeling it. It's easier if you get a razor blade. I am going to have to find my razor blades. You see it's flipping back already? And once you get a good piece of it opened up, majority of it will pull right off. Alright, so I got my fillet knife. I'm going to try to get some of it cut off from there to get started somewhere. And there you go. You got to make sure with a razor blade, get in there. Get every little piece out of there with a razor blade. I'm going to shop vac this also when I'm done, because you see how wet that is underneath there? But every little bit, get out there with a razor blade, because that's all going to be where you're going to fail at if you don't. Now do the whole tank. The whole perimeter around the square and up and down. Okay, so I've been using my fillet knife. Going back and forth with my fillet knife or razor blade is so much easier. So I will have to find my razor blade. But I figure I'll get a bulk of it out now. Vacuum some of this water up. And then come back around with the razor blade. So I just been scoring it kind of with my fillet knife right now. Don't chip the tank. You could hear it kind of when it's in between the joints, which way you're going. So don't chip the joint. Do not try to run your bare fingers between the joints to scratch anything out, because you could cut yourself. Use a razor blade to get in there. So I'm still getting everything off with the fillet knife. It's coming off pretty good, but the last little fine tune, I gotta find a razor blade and do it with the razor blade. Alright, I don't care how sharp my fillet knife is. One more shop vac, then I gotta find the razor blade. And then you just gotta clean up all the corners with the razor blade. You don't want nothing at all left over from any of this old caulk, because that, I'm telling you, that is where you're gonna fail at next time. That's where your next failure would be, is if you leave some of that caulk in there. So get in there, clean it off really good. And since the Invisiglass works so good for me and it's gonna dry, I'm gonna Invisiglass this and dry the heck out of it and get Invisiglass all the corners, then let it dry really good, and then that's what I'll start caulking with. But I'm going to use the razor blade and the shop vac to get all that really good in all those corners. Ding 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 from Walmart. Winner winner chicken dinner, 50 razor blades. This is what I'm going to fine tune every little piece and scrape every little piece of caulk from the old one all the way down. Don't put your fingers between the joints, you'll cut yourself. Use a glove. Yeah, thought I was gonna make it. Cut on my razor blade at one of them. Last corner. Alright, so you see, even though it looked like I had everything, get really good in it. Don't lean on it too much, because now there's nothing supporting the tank. But that's on the outside. I gotta sweep that up. It was paint I took off. But I'm gonna vacuum it again, dust it with the in all the corners, vacuum it again. Then I could clean it and then silicone it. Man, this silicone's like $11, $13. I don't know if it's gonna be enough because that's 6 feet, about 16 inches, 16 inches, 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet, 2 feet. So I'm gonna actually Google to see how much feet one tube of silicone will cover. Alright, so a 1/2 inch bead by 1/2 inch bead is 12 feet. 1/4 inch bead by 1/4 inch bead is 12 feet. So if I do 1/2 inch bead, no, 12 feet for 1/2 inch, 24 feet for 1/4 inch. So if I do a 1/4 inch bead, I could do this whole thing, which is about 24 feet. But if I do 1/2 inch bead, I would need 2 of these. So this holds a lot of water. This holds 125 gallons and it's 8.25 pounds per gallon, I believe. So I'm gonna go with 1/2 inch, so I need 1 more of these. Done for today. The whole tank is prepped. Everything's ready to go. I'm not gonna skimp. I could squeeze out 1 tube for a 125 gallon tank, but I'm gonna use 2. I'm gonna go with 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch all the way around. Too much weight for you to try to skimp on 1/4 inch bead. Alright people, we are back. It's actually like 2 days later. I had the fan blowing back and forth because I wanted, you know, underneath there was soaking wet. So everything's completely dry now. Alright, and I said I was going to use Super Silicone by GE Supreme. I went to Menards and they didn't have the Supreme, they just had the Advanced. So I didn't want to mix and match silicone. So I'm going to use this anyways because I'm insulating in between my ledgers. I'm insulating with that. But I bought this. I've used this before. I know it says window and door. It's 100% waterproof, 100% silicone. 100% silicone. I always look for 100% silicone. Now, like I said before, one of these at a 1/4 inch bead will give you 12 feet. So you will need 2 of these if you're doing a 1/2 inch bead. So if you're doing a 55 gallon tank, you could use 1 of them. All right, I'm doing a 125 gallon tank. That's over 1,000 pounds of water that's gonna be in there. So I'm putting a 1/2 inch bead, and then I'm gonna do it at well, a 1/2 inch bead will give us 24 feet with these right here. So if I don't use both of them, I'm just gonna do between the bricks right here with whatever I have left. Okay, so you're gonna put on rubber gloves because you're gonna caulk the best you can caulk, the best bead you can caulk all around the square, all around the square, and then up, all around the square and then up. Now you gotta mind where, okay, there is some silicone around this lip. I couldn't get that high, so you gotta mind when you're filling your tank, as high as you reach right here, that's as high as you're gonna fill your tank. It's still within the black, but it's not gonna be all the way to the top because you'll probably get leaks right there. I told you, if there's any place where there's old silicone, that is gonna be your failing point. So you wanna get out as much as you can. You see, I spent the whole evening getting that out with a razor blade and a shop vacuum. So before I do that, I'm gonna Invisiglass everything. Do not run your fingers in them corners. Use a glove or a rag, a microfiber paper towel so you don't slit your finger open. And then after that, we'll start running the bead. Alright, so here we go with the boring part. You're going to cut this, but you're going to cut it pretty thick because you don't want a thin bead. And you're going to cut it on your angle. Like you need your angle to, these are nulls. Like you're going to need your angle to make your angle for your bead. But you're going to cut it pretty thick because like I said, you are going to need a pretty thick bead. You're looking at 1,000 gallons that you're holding up here. Alright, so I do got to puncture that one right there. I guess I should get my caulk gun. OMG, I am such a big meathead. I was in such a rush. I got white 100% silicone. The bottom's not going to be a problem because the bottom's not going to, you're not going to see it. You're going to see white in the corners, but here I am. This is what I got. This is what I'm doing. I already committed. I cut it. So I got my gloves on because this is what I use to line my silicone, alright? If it's not perfect, it's not perfect, especially the bottom. You're really not going to see the bottom. You're going to see the sides. I'm going to do the whole square right now. then the top and bottom. I don't show you that because it's just waste of footage and waste of time rendering. All right, there you go. Is it perfect? Far from perfect. Here's where your paper towels and your fingers come into play. All right, so everything is sealed around. It was actually one tube, and I had half of this line to do the rest of the tube. So I got a new tube, but I'm gonna use it to get the brick sealed in between here. But for now, finger and paper towel. Just gonna start cleaning this up a little bit. Whatever spilled on the bottom, I really don't mind. It's the size that you want to look nice. Perfect. See? It's a little bit wide. Use a paper towel. You could do the one finger. I don't mind. It's my tank. You know that it's pushed into the corner now. It's pushed into the corner. It got a base on the side. Perfect. Let me wipe my hands, and then I'm gonna start doing that all the way around. All right, there you go. Would have been nicer with clear, but that was my only oops that I had. Now you're gonna say, oh, that bottom is a oops. All that bottom can stay exactly like it is because it's gonna have black gravel on top of it. The corners are white. That's what you see in the corners right now. So I'll clip that little bit with a razor blade once it dries. That is where I had the big spill right there. Pretty much clean as is. Here's a trick now. This is the biggest trick you know. You're gonna be wanting to get your fish in here as fast as possible. This is gonna sit here for 3 days. 3 days. I got them in a temporary tank. This is gonna sit here for 3 days before I even budge it, before I move it. I'm not gonna have the fan on. This is gonna naturally dry for 3 days. Try to get yourself some low odor silicone, and when you're down in there, you feel it, you taste it still, even with low odor, because this is low odor one. But that is about done. All I gotta do is fill it up, and then it's ready to be set it and forget it. This is the tool that I use to get everything down in there. On the bottoms, I really don't care, because on the bottoms everything else is going on. I am going to flip that little bit up a little bit. You do want to smooth. When you get little pockets like that, it holds water. The whole tank holds water, but you know what I mean. It builds up in there. All right, so the white didn't look too bad in the corners. See, that's the white in the corners. Didn't look too bad. Make sure you get clear. Talk to you later. Subscribe, like, and share. We'll regroup in about a week or so when I have all the crayfish and fish in here. All right, talk to you later. Subscribe, like, and share.